25, and clock is ticking. The clock is ticking.
So yes, I keep telling y'all never, ever, ever find another.
In the world of local politics, where daily governance typically takes priority over theatrics, Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, has transformed her tenure into a spectacle rivaling a reality television show. Instead of being recognized for meaningful accomplishments, Henyard has become a polarizing figure, earning the self-declared title of Super Mayor through a series of extravagant public stunts and questionable financial decisions. From excessive publicity events to dubious expenditures, her administration has been riddled with controversies, scandals, and an escalating financial crisis. Discontent surrounding her leadership has only intensified, with frustrated residents of Dalton and neighboring Thornton Township flooding social media with criticism. Yet despite widespread anger, Henyard remains resolute, brushing off mounting demands for her resignation and defending her actions with unwavering confidence. One of the most astonishing moments of her tenure occurred when she announced her intention to seek a second term as mayor. Exuding confidence, she likened herself to former President Donald Trump, downplaying the scandals that had plagued her first term. This declaration was met with immediate backlash, as residents expressed outrage over her leadership, or in their view, her blatant mismanagement. Public meetings in Dalton have devolved into chaos, with citizens voicing their frustrations while local trustees engage in heated disputes over Henyard's handling of town affairs. Under Henyard's leadership, Dalton's financial stability has crumbled, leaving the town with a staggering deficit exceeding $3 million. Just a few years prior, the municipality maintained a robust general fund balance of over $5 million, yet Henyard's reckless financial decisions have depleted that surplus, plunging the town into economic turmoil. Alarm bells rang louder when an investigation, spearheaded by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, uncovered disturbing financial irregularities. Among the most shocking findings was a nearly $40,000 shopping spree on Amazon, funded entirely by taxpayer dollars. Yes, an astonishing $14,400 was spent in a single day on online purchases. Outraged, residents have demanded answers: what was bought, who authorized the transactions, and why such extravagant spending was deemed necessary. Henyard's refusal to confront these financial discrepancies head-on has only deepened public resentment and mistrust. Transparency has been virtually non-existent, and her reluctance to provide direct explanations has led many to question her competence as a leader. Despite the growing fury, Henyard clings to her self-fashioned super mayor persona, downplaying the town's economic collapse as if it were a minor inconvenience. As she pushes forward with her re-election campaign, Dalton remains more divided than ever. Her tenure has become synonymous with mismanagement, and her refusal to acknowledge the town's deteriorating financial state has only widened the gap between her administration and the residents she was elected to serve. What once seemed like a promising political career has instead become a string of scandals, each fueling the flames of public outrage. Henyard's popularity has plummeted. Once boasting a growing base of supporters, she now faces widespread opposition, with an overwhelming number of voices calling for her removal from office. As Dalton sinks deeper into financial disarray, it becomes evident that Henyard has become a symbol of frustration and division. Her failure to lead, combined with reckless spending and blatant disregard for accountability, has left the town in chaos. Yet despite every sign pointing to a desperate need for change, Henyard remains steadfast in her pursuit of a second term. Her re-election bid is now met with widespread skepticism and resistance from nearly every faction of the community. With financial investigations into her administration ongoing and further damning revelations expected, the future of her political career hangs in the balance. The legacy of Tiffany Henyard's tenure is shaping into a cautionary tale, one of squandered opportunity, public relations disasters, and a deeply fractured town. If she moves forward with her re-election campaign, one thing is certain: the people of Dalton will remember her time in office for all the wrong reasons.
New calls for a change at the top in South Suburban Dalton.
Of course, we are talking.
Tiffany Henyard has repeatedly defended the controversial expenditures made under her administration, insisting they were intended for the benefit of the community. However, a recent audit has raised serious concerns about her handling of public funds. The findings revealed a troubling pattern of careless spending, with large charges on the village's credit card becoming routine under her leadership. Many of these expenses were either poorly documented or entirely unjustified, leading critics to accuse her of reckless and irresponsible financial management. As Dalton's financial crisis deepens, frustration among residents has grown. Critics argue that Henyard has been far too cavalier in her approach to taxpayer money, prioritizing excessive spending over the pressing needs of the community. During a heated village meeting, one frustrated resident voiced the sentiment shared by many, demanding, "Where's the accountability? Our streets are collapsing, our schools are underfunded, and she's out here spending like it's monopoly money." The remark was met with murmurs of agreement from the crowd, as trustees and residents alike pushed for answers regarding Henyard's spending habits and overall priorities as mayor. Despite the mounting criticism, Henyard has remained defiant, insisting that her leadership is essential for Dalton's future. But it's not just her financial decisions that have sparked outrage. Her leadership style has also come under heavy fire. Henyard has been described as combative and chaotic, creating a toxic atmosphere at public meetings that were once intended for constructive dialogue. These meetings have instead turned into battlegrounds, with residents and trustees openly clashing with her over her decisions and management. In one particularly tense meeting, Henyard arrived late, delaying an already contentious session and further testing the patience of frustrated residents. One outraged participant stood up and declared, "We are not your subjects. We are your bosses. You will not treat us this way any longer." The outburst reflected a growing sense of discontent, as many in the community feel their concerns are being ignored rather than addressed. Instead of acknowledging the criticism or making efforts to ease tensions, Henyard has doubled down, dismissing her detractors as contemptuous and insisting that her leadership is exactly what Dalton needs. "Whether you like it or not, I am your mayor," she proclaimed, making it clear that she has no intention of backing down despite the mounting pressure. Her defiant stance has only fueled further anger among residents, who see her unwillingness to engage with their concerns as a sign that she is disconnected from the people she was elected to serve. The combination of her combative attitude and the town's worsening financial crisis has cemented her position as a deeply unpopular leader. With investigations into Dalton's finances still ongoing and the town's fiscal situation continuing to deteriorate, many are beginning to wonder how much longer Henyard can maintain her grip on power. Her tenure, increasingly defined by scandal and growing public hostility, appears to be heading toward an inevitable reckoning. The question now is whether her defiance will allow her to weather the storm, or if it will ultimately lead to her downfall.
Bias. At the conclusion of this investigation, I will provide an assessment of the findings and the recommendations.
The controversy surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard extends beyond Village Hall, as her personal life has now become yet another source of public scrutiny. Henyard is currently facing an eviction lawsuit filed by her landlord, who claims that she and her boyfriend have failed to pay rent since August. The lawsuit alleges that the couple owes thousands of dollars in back rent and even went so far as to change the locks on the property to keep the landlord out. This legal battle has only intensified the scrutiny surrounding Henyard, adding another layer of controversy to her already tumultuous political career. Critics argue that Henyard's priorities seem more focused on maintaining her public image than on addressing the urgent issues affecting Dalton. The situation raises serious questions about how someone earning over $300,000 a year from 2 public jobs could find themselves in such financial trouble, given that her role is meant to serve the community's interests. This financial dispute has only added to the spectacle surrounding her administration. Henyard, who has famously branded herself as Super Mayor, has made a series of extravagant public appearances, including the installation of massive welcome banners prominently featuring her face. These displays have been widely criticized as self-serving and tone-deaf, with many viewing them as yet another example of her growing obsession with her own image, rather than any meaningful progress in Dalton. The controversy escalated when it was revealed that the vendor responsible for creating the banners had not been paid for their services. When workers attempted to remove them, Henyard allegedly called the police and demanded that charges be pressed against them, including against her own village administrator. This move sparked further outrage, with residents questioning why Henyard appeared more concerned about preserving her public persona than addressing the town's worsening financial crisis. Many in the community found the entire situation embarrassing, pointing out how disconnected Henyard seems from the everyday struggles of Dalton residents. One critic openly expressed frustration, calling the ordeal shameful and highlighting how her fixation on self-promotion has completely overshadowed the town's real issues. As financial mismanagement, personal scandals, and growing public dissatisfaction continue to mount, Henyard's ability to lead effectively is being called into serious question. Her actions suggest that maintaining her public persona is more important to her than addressing Dalton's financial instability and the increasing frustration among its residents. With critics growing both inside and outside her administration, it is becoming increasingly difficult to see how Henyard can recover from the series of missteps that have defined her tenure. Instead of confronting the challenges that matter most to the people of Dalton, she appears to be doubling down on defiance and self-promotion, only fueling further outrage and discontent.